If you are looking for the fastest, most damage per second wizard build inside of Diablo Immortal, this video is for you. I have never seen a wizard build this fast, and in the past, my complaint about the wizard as a class was its slow attacking and just inability to really be very maneuverable around the map. This build right here that's been shared with us by Cash, Try's friend, out of the Revenant's Discord server, it just gives me a whole new light on the wizard itself. I absolutely love the build, and it's really been dominating in farming and even in other elements of the game as well. Inside of the video right now, I'm going to give you everything you need to know on how to build this one yourself. And if you guys have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section below, or you can head on over to the Revenant's Discord server where you could speak to Cash or Try themselves regarding this build. Let's take a minute now and look at what exactly this build is made out of. Let's start out by talking about the skills that he's using for this build. He's going in with Electrocute, Lightning Nova, Arcane Torrent, Meteor, and Scorch, each of which is going to have some type of modification from the primary gear that we're going to look at in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at the secondary gear. This is very similar to the secondary gear that I've worn on my Barbarian build if you've watched those videos here on the channel. As you can see, what really matters here are the set items. He's got the Awakener's Urge, which is unlocking Vithu's urges. He's going with a two-piece for Vithu's. However you set up that combination, it doesn't really matter. The set property here for Vithu is going to increase the duration of all beneficial effects on your party members and you by 30%. This is something that I love. It's going to just, the ability for you to utilize your skills and the duration effect damage is going to be increased. Absolutely love that one. Remember, he's wearing a two-piece of Vithu's to unlock that first set property. Now, the next set property he's focused on is the Grace of the Flagellant, and for this one, he's rolling with a four-piece. As you can see right here, Grace of the Flagellant, all continual damage, channel damage, and persistent ground damage is increased by 15%. And because it's a four-piece, he's unlocked the second set property as well. Each time you damage an individual enemy 5 times, you'll do 10,065 additional damage to that enemy. This one right here is a damage dealer that I love for many classes inside of the game. It's what I'm using right now in my Blood Knight as well. Now we're going to move on over to the first primary piece of gear, Memory. And on this one, as you can see, he's going to be wearing the Pain Clasp Gem. Love this gem. It's a level 10 and he has awakened this slot, which is why it's purple, unlocking more damage, and we're going to see specifically what that is as we take a look at the legendary properties right here. Flaming Orbs. Scorch now conjures 4 flaming orbs that orbit around you and explode when they strike enemies, damaging and burning all nearby enemies. Scorch damage is increased by 18%. And because this has been an awakened piece of gear, Scorch cooldown has been decreased by 10%. Moving on to the chest piece, we have Sprite's Spark, and as you can see, he's wearing the Mother's Lament gem. It's a 2-star gem, and he's got it up to level 5, so nothing too crazy right there. And as we get to those properties, you can see the legendary properties right here. Lightning Nova now transfigures you into a ball of pure lightning, allowing you to move at high speed and continuously deal damage to any nearby enemies. Lightning Nova damage is increased by 18%. And as we just mentioned before, there's only one piece of awakened gear inside of this whole build, and that is the headpiece, which we went over just a moment ago. Let's move on to the shoulders. Angmar's Repulsive Burden, and he's got a 5-star, 4 out of 5-star, rank 5 Blood-Soaked Jade inside of that one. Legendary properties right here have to do with Scorch. Scorch's knockback distance is increased. Scorch cooldown is reduced by 3.6%. Being a wizard, you're not the tankiest inside of the game, so having a extended knockback is good really for any class, and Scorch is going to get that with this shoulder piece. Thunderous Applause are the legs being worn right here with a level 6, 4 out of 5-star Bottled Hope. Legendary attributes here. Meteor now calls down a meteor shower that follows you, damaging and burning enemies. but it no longer stuns. Meteor damage is increased by 18%. And as we're going to watch in just a few minutes as we get back to watching him open world farm with this, the damage being done is going to be that continuous burn damage, utilizing all of the skills for that extended burn damage, for that speed that he's been talking about as well, and essentially just building everything out to continuously loop and take down all your opponents along the way. Now for the primary piece of gear, he's wearing Rift Carver, and inside of this one, he's got a 3 out of 5 star rank 5 Chip of Stone Flesh. And what's going to be enhanced here from that legendary attribute is going to be the Chaotic Companion. Arcane Torrent now creates a chaotic orb that moves with you and fires arcane missiles at random nearby enemies. Arcane Torrent damage is increased by 18%. Another skill that's going to follow along as you run through the map, continuously dropping damage as you go. Now, the secondary piece of gear that he's wearing is Azkalor's Fire. Inside of this one, he's got a 4 out of 5 star Seeping Bile that is ranked up to level 5. I love the Seeping Bile. And the legendary attribute here, very simple. Scorch damage is increased by 19%. Remember, Scorch also has that burn effect, and it has the knockback that's been also modified from essences above. Thunderbird's Bite sits with a rank 4 out of 5 star concentrated will gem, and the legendary attributes of this one are Lightning Nova damage is increased by 19%. Following that up, we have Charged Stigma, which has a Starfire Shard, rank 4 out of 5 star gem inside of this one, with a legendary attribute of Electrocute. Also increases your primary attack speed by 6% for 3.2 seconds, stacking up to a maximum of 5 times. So actually getting something here for the primary attack as well. But as I mentioned, let's take a look at more of this build in action. And like we've seen from some of the Barbarian builds that we've recently featured on the channel as well, doing the same loop right here in Mount Zavane, just continuously running around, not stopping or halting to grab any loot along the way, but getting that as you loop around a second, third, fourth, or fifth time. Just continuously utilizing speed and damage as you go around. And remember, we do have that burn damage as well, which is going to be something that's prolonged and something that's dropping even more damage because of the build attributes and the secondary gear that we featured earlier on. I absolutely love this wizard build, mostly because not only of the damage dropped, but the mobility. I've become kind of spoiled playing as a barbarian with basically endless sprint and Wrath of the Berserker continuously burning, that when I try and play a class that doesn't have the ability to be as fast and drop as much damage, I feel a little slow, right? But now with this wizard build, probably one of my lesser favorite classes inside of the game, it gives me the ability to get that speed and that area of effect damage that's continuous over time and utilize the same secondary gear that I used with my barbarian build. So when you switch classes, you don't have to go farm all different types of secondary gear as well, because it uses the same ones as with the barbarian. Now, of course, we're always on a secondary gear grind. You go from hell to an inferno difficulty to inferno 2, and you're going to be looking for new secondary gear. But it's easy enough to craft those kinds of things. It's really not the biggest deal at all, as long as you just get all of the pieces that you need to do that. Just run dungeons, get green stuff, break them down, and craft the ones that you want. But I love the wizard build. I want to thank Cash for sharing this one, and I want to remind you guys that the Revenant's Discord server is a place that's filled with knowledge and people that are looking to help. I'm inside of there myself as well, and if you want to head on over, the link's in the description of this video, and when you get there, say what's up to me. Tag me inside of the server. I don't mind. I want to see who came through. Let me know in the comments section below if you're going to try out this wizard build, and if you did, what you think of it, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.